Hi, folks. It's 1 o'clock, so I will get going. I never bothered with the join me online uh, Google Hangout thing. I couldn't figure out Google. Just confused the heck out of me. So if you want to tweet to me at SIG225, I'm looking at my computer. As you can see from my frenetic head movement, I'm also looking at my other desktop screen, and it will show me if there's any tweets that come in asking me any questions, and I'm happy to answer those as I go along. They asked me to try to keep it to 15 minutes, so that's what I'll do. There is a link here that opens up the same OneNote that I'm working on as well. So if you want to open up your web browser and follow along, you're more than welcome to, encourage to, and please do. And here we go. So what I'm going to actually, I'm not screen sharing. Shoot, I'm assuming that we're all screen sharing. And again, like I said, I'm not a Google person, so I have to figure out how to do all this wonderful stuff. There we go. That's my entire screen there. That sounds good. So you were just looking at me, which is likely unfortunate. Okay, so that is a problem because that's not what I wanted. Okay, let's go this way. There. Now you can't see me, and all you see is my screen. Good. Awesome. So breakouts you may or may not be familiar with. We had a great time a few years ago. We took our math department to an escape room. They threw us in a room and gave us an hour to break out, following all these puzzles where we had to use flashlights and locks, and there was a computer involved where we had to work out some codes. Had a great time. And so we went back to the classroom. We said, well, let's try to do the same thing, but we're a OneNote school, and so let's try to do it in OneNote. So that's what we did. We do sometimes mix it up with the physical aspects. You can always mix the digital and the physical together, start off on the computer and then move to the physical, or work back and forth. So it's not a big deal one way or the other. One thing I would like to try is the color-coded, where you use the 3D glasses or the film that you could actually put them all in text with regular text, some of them some color, and then put the colored film on top and see a hidden code within there. And that seems like it would work within the textbook, sorry, the OneNote space as well. So we're going to start with puzzle number 1. And puzzle number 1 is really simple. He says, while clicking on it and it not doing what it wants it to do. Let's flip over here. There we go. Puzzle number 1. And so puzzle number 1, again, this was sort of a fact reminder for kids or for other participants, because we've done this with faculty too, asking them to pull things out of material. So typing in or writing in the word. So if we can all, I deliberately didn't choose Derek's last name because I wasn't sure I could have spelled it if I wanted to pull it up from memory. So that would be Derek. And just write that in. And then Peter Cameron, of course, is our second person who's organized Mad PD. Jen Sketchnote Giffen, and Carlo No Grade Fusco. He just finished his session in the previous hour. So you can ask kids to fill this in based upon some of the knowledge that they've been asked to acquire. And that, of course, following the pattern of the colored in spaces, gives you the password for the next room. Now, you could have actually mixed those up and have them unscramble the words, but again, this is all puzzle stuff, and there's some great resources out there that if you use Google Puzzles, you can incorporate them in with your knowledge as well. And now we go to the next room, and when I try to go to the next room, it says it's password protected. And that's the whole idea here. They can't move on unless they get the password. When I was chatting with a colleague in Scotland, she was using this to have kids check their math homework. So they couldn't get the next math question until they got the right answer to the previous question. And so if I type in dogs here, that unpassword protected, and we can move on. So I use this a lot for review. We put together all the review questions for the students for the entire unit, or in the case of the exam, the entire year, and build up rooms to have them work through. And we try to mix it up a little bit. It's not always full answer. So we do multiple choice. And so we ask them multiple, whoa, didn't expect that. Cut back off. we have multiple choice here where they collect the letters in the multiple choice answers, and from that they form the password for the next room. And it gives them a chance to have a little bit more interesting aspect of review rather than just plug and chug and work through answers from day to day. So that's what we do with our review. The first time we did it, we were shocked that they actually came knocking and said, okay, well, where's the review for the next unit in a breakout format? So it's not always going to be the panacea for getting kids to do math homework, but from time to time, it certainly does help to get them engaged in problems that they wouldn't necessarily normally do. Again, you always have to have something new for other folks. So puzzle number 2. So it's a YouTube video on Richard Feynman, and the question is, at what minute does Feynman start talking about the electrical force? Again, we're trying to coax people to do things that they may not naturally do, so they'd have to actually listen to the video as Feynman goes through his problem solving to talk about the electrical force. And the actual minute at which, I'm not going to suggest we go through this, just because, I mean, Feynman's always good to listen to, but we have better things to do with our lives at the moment. To get to the next room, the answer to that is actually 4. F-O-U-R. Oh, crap. This might be a problem. Oh, I just can't. Oh, Lord. F-O-U-R? Are you kidding me? Well, this is embarrassing. I've misspelled 4 apparently twice. The nice thing about it is that it won't lock just if you try it too many times incorrectly. The bad thing about it is if you can't remember the password, it doesn't let you in ever, and there's no way to retrieve it, and I'm completely screwed myself. Okay, so how many people are viewing this? Way too many. So this is awesome. All right, then. Let me try one more thing. I'm going to go back and see if I can. F-O-U-R. And so now this is memorialized forever on YouTube. Great. So let me recreate what our next step was. Room 3, which is now room 4, was how to actually do this yourself. And since my screenshots are no longer going to be accessible to me, we'll go through it by doing it live. And I try not to do that because always the chance for failure, but here you go. All right. To do it live, or to do it yourself, head on over to onenote.com. No, I want to do a new private window because apparently I don't. New private window. I have so many other accounts. I don't want to mix them up with other things. So let's make sure I have a private window. There we go. I'm going to go to onenote.com. And it's going to ask me to sign in. And I'm only going through this step because I know a lot of people don't necessarily have a Microsoft account. And if you don't have a Microsoft account, you can just go ahead and create one. And you do not have to create a new email. You can choose to get a new email address. That's not a problem, but you can just use one of your old emails. So if you can do like Bob at mcdonald.com, and it will create a layer on top of Bob at mcdonald.com that includes a Microsoft account. So you can use your Google account email and create a Microsoft account on top of that. So just so you don't have to worry about, oh no, I need another email, or it's going to be a real pain to remember this. You don't have to do that. So let me type in that. Type in my password. Go. Okay. So I'm in onenote.com, and little button here for a new notebook. So I create a breakout notebook, and I always try to give it a good name so I know what I'm doing, because over the units and years with teaching mathematics, they start to pile up a bit. And so the notebook gets created. And if you haven't used OneNote before, it's pretty straightforward. it creates a first unit. They always call it quick notes. I'm going to just quickly rename it to welcome. Go, and the welcome is your section. So it's like the Hilroy section dividers way back when we had binders, the colored ones that you used to get like 6 for $2, and then you stick them in and you put your pages in between that. Same thing here. This is your colored divider, and then you have your first page within that section. So that would be my first welcome page. And so then you put your welcome stuff here, whatever that might be. So welcome stuff, introductions, instructions, whatever you need it would go in here. And set it up so they understand how they have to go through the escape room. And then you add another page, and that's always down here at the bottom. You add another page, and that's where you put your first puzzle. And so that would be puzzle number 1, or whatever you want to call it, and you put in your puzzle here. And it could be anything. We've done mazes, we've done word searches, anything you think of that would actually get them to either recall the knowledge or do some problem solving to get some kind of word, number, phrase. Don't try to make it too long or you forget it and make you look like an idiot on YouTube later on. We've done some calculations, so we'll have them do like 4 different calculations and then say, okay, find the average or find the weighted average, something to do with actually taking it and sort of shrinking it into some little code. And once you do that, that gives you the password for the next section. So we need another section. So let's go on and create another section. We'll call it room number 1. And that creates our room number 1. And now you have to password protect it. And this is the only stumble that I've gotten around. Microsoft wants you to have OneNote installed on your computer. And so there's a little button in here that says open in OneNote. And when you do that, it will give you the ability to password protect the section. So give us a second here while it opens up. He says, hopefully. This is why we always create things ahead of time so that we don't have to wait for things. And so there's our welcome. It will be momentarily. And there's our room number 1. And if I right click it, I have this option to password protect this space. Now, when you do that, it does ask you to enter it twice. So somehow I typed 4 incorrectly twice. My employer will likely never see this YouTube, so I'm okay. But so let's assume that our password is indeed 4, and I'm just going to see if I can do that by myself. F-O-U-R. F-O-U-R. Okay. Easy enough. And when I do that, it locks it. So I can go back to my welcome, come back, and of course it's unlocked because I haven't been doing that. So let's go to password protect, lock them. Okay, now it's locked, and now I type F-O-U-R, and I get into the section. Awesome. Whew. That was a bit of a scare there. So that now allows you, the students, to get into the next section, start working on these next puzzles. So they have more puzzles to work with here. They could do something offline, right? So they could do something physical in the physical space, and then come back with their password and to head off to room 2. So you could mix and match the physical and the digital. And you just keep adding rooms and adding passwords all the way along. One thing I do, and you won't believe me because, of course, I screwed up. I do email myself the passwords so I don't have to redo all of the problems to get back into the room, because it's not like your password for your network. You just can't email the IT department and say, could you give me the password? No, it's locked out forever. So email yourself the passwords so that you don't forget them, and make sure, apparently, that you type them correctly, because sometimes people are idiots. Okay, so now you've got your OneNote ready. The passwords are ready to go. You're ready to give it to the kids. Up in the upper right-hand corner, there's this big share button, nice big and purple. You want to get a link. You can give them the edit, but that changes your source. So it's best to give the kids view only. and that way they can see everything that's going on, but they can't change any of the content. They still have to enter the password to get to the next section. So I'll go ahead and create the link, get this ridiculously long link. I always go to a URL shortener to make it a bit easier. The funny thing is, Bitly does not like Microsoft URLs. For some reason, don't know, don't really care. I just use tiny URL, and then I type in something that actually makes more sense. And then it's ready to go. So that was accepted. It's already taken. Okay, let's just take that one. And then I give that to the kids, and they're off and running. Now, in the lock section, I had a really good example from Joe Archer of a beautiful breakout that he did. Let me see if I can find it just manually. My breakouts are mechanical. They work really well. They wouldn't be something that your mom would be happy to see and put up in the fridge kind of thing. They just work. But Joe, who's a grade 5-6 teacher here in Ontario, about an hour away from me, has put together one that actually looks quite nice. And it's all about space and exploration in grade 5 and 6. He has more rooms than I would do. I would tend to do 4 or 5 rooms. We have 1 hour periods. His is likely for a longer set of time and over a larger process. I found sort of 4 rooms works well for teenagers in an enclosed space, but he has a much larger number of rooms. It really doesn't matter. The kids will go home and keep doing it if they're interested in diving into the rooms. We've offered prizes at the end if they get through, and any kind of encouragement to get them to actually work through. They tend to be a mixture of collaborative and cooperative. Some of them will try to reduce the problems into everyone working on the same, so they can check their work, as opposed to them working on different problems and then coming back together later. Okay, that's at the 17-minute mark. I apologize for not knowing how to type the word 4. That's just embarrassing, and Mrs. Hands, my grade 6 teacher, will surely be rolling over in her grave. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I look forward to seeing more breakouts running around the internet in the near future. Thanks very much. We will talk to you later. I'll do that. And now you can see my balding forehead. And it looks like the catnip wore off, eh? That kept you busy for a while.